Akwabo, this is Kofi Blankson, and you are welcome to the Agility for All YouTube channel. Today, in episode 5 of series 6, we are talking about localizing agility in Ghana. And this is coming on the heels of the first time open space conversation we had in Ghana a few weeks ago. I trust that you have seen the video by now. So, localizing agility in Ghana, I think that that's a very big topic, but I'll try and do my best to do justice to it from two perspectives. First of all, from the Ghanaian cultural lens, right? And then also I will relate it to the Agile manifesto and of course the Agile values, and also look at some of the values that we portray as a Ghanaian people. So I think you'd agree with me that, traditionally we are people who are more of an extended family, right? We look more of an extended family than individualism, like I want to call it. And so that brings to mind the bit around the Agile manifesto, where we talk about customer collaboration over, the contract negotiation. So what do I mean by this? So for instance, if there's a birth, or there's an outdooring of a new baby, or there's a wedding, or there's a funeral, I'm not saying that will happen, right? But we realize that a lot of the time we like to come together and execute the activities for such ceremony, and it's so beautiful because we think that those are some of the things that bring us together. We believe also that the things that bind us are more than the things that do separate us, right? And so I think that we have leverage in that sense to localize agility, definitely. Another point I'd like to talk about also is the fact that we are largely used to an environment of uncertainty. So a lot of the time we start off and we know that, look, assuming this does not work, you got to have a plan B. And I think that comes to us culturally, naturally, right? So it comes to us by default. And so we are always asking ourselves, so if this doesn't work, what's my plan A? What's my plan B? I beg your pardon. What's my plan C? Or, how can I go over this? Again, relating it to the Agile manifesto, we are talking about responding to change over following a plan, right? I think that again, we have good leverage in this sense. And so as we scale along, I think as Ghanaians, we can really localize this to a large extent. Another point I'd like to talk about also is we are early risers. Early risers, we wake up early. And when you set out in the morning, you're asking yourself and reflecting over your day. So in an agile sense, you're talking about a retrospective. So you're asking yourself, what did I do yesterday? What can I do today? Or who can I reach out to for help? I think that's a very powerful, tool that we can use to continually or localize agility to a large extent. And so the power of daily check-ins is really important, right? And the retrospectives that I talk about, reflecting on how well we are doing and how well we've done. I think that's something that we do culturally. And so if we continue doing this, then we are really localizing agility. Essentially, what's my point is that Agile is not too far from us. We just have to, adopt the framework in itself and say, hey, look, this is the path that we are going. I think another thing about us also is the fact that we are a curious bunch of people. We always want to know what is happening, and we want to learn more. So the bit around continuous improvement naturally comes to us. And so culturally, those are things that we can improve upon or deliberately say, look, we want to take forth, right? I think that's really important. A skill, as it were, that curiosity helps us, in a large extent. Another thing also that I love so much about this bit also is the fact that we talk about, time management is always a challenge, right? But for us as Ghanaians, we have a very nice way of calling out time. So for instance, if I ask my friend, hey, can you meet me at 3:34? We call it Ghana man time. Are you asking, is a request to meet you at 3 o'clock? Is a request to meet you at 3:30? Or is a request meeting you at 4? But I think over and above, we find a very fine way of connecting with that and say, okay, yes, I'm going to be there, right? But the point here again is, I think we are flexible, and that's what agility is about, right? And so I think that's how we can really localize it and also adapt. So we are being flexible and we are adaptive regardless of what the time is. So I really like that anecdote that says 2:30, 3:30. I mean, it's got to be just one time, but that Ghana man time, which is GMT for some of our friends who are, listening to us outside of Ghana, GMT, we call it Ghana man time. So I say, meet me at 2:30 but I mean, that's on the lighter note, but I mean, flexibly, we have a way of going around that. I think that there's an invitation also to evangelize Agile, and I know that many small pocket organizations have tried to do that, right? I think it's really important because we foresee that, we do have a very young, vibrant, generation. There's an emerging folk of game changers and entrepreneurs, here in Ghana and obviously out there in the continent of Africa. And I think that once we are able to adopt this and localize it to a large extent, it will really work for us. Before I go also, I think that another thing culturally is, even you bear me out, that there are new ways of working that's happening in many organizations. It's telling us that organizations really are flat, right? They're not hierarchical like they used to be as well. But culturally, we as a people, we normally find it very difficult, to first of all call people by their first names. You want to add a Mr. or a Mrs. to that. I think that one way to localize Agile is to try and I'm not saying do away with our culture entirely, right? But just try to put that bit aside and let's be courageous, and I'm speaking to the Agile values as a way, of localizing agility. That courage we should have, that, hey, look, for once, I want to make the organization flat and don't have to go through many, layers to try and reach someone at the top. Once it's a flat organization, regardless of where the person finds themselves, whether it's the janitor at the door, or the guy who opens the door for you, the gardener, or the CEO, chief executive, or the C-suite folk, you can reach out to them. I think it's just about titles, but for us, I think localizing it should be about the values that these guys, do bring. I think that would be a fantastic way to really localize Agile. I think also, as Ghanaians and Africans, to a large extent, let me just dwell on Ghana for a second. We are socialized, we are quite sociable, and I'm sure you would have heard across the world that Ghanaians are very hospitable. And in that hospitableness, or that hospitality that we pride ourselves in, we see ourselves as a way of being open. That openness is a very key value for Agile value, right? And whilst we are being open, it's also a way for us to establish trust, because once we trust you, we know once we open up and that trust is established, there's amazing things that we could do together, right? And I think that that's a very critical point in how we can really localize Agile right here in Ghana. I think I talked about the courage earlier when I was relating to the new ways of working and making organizations flat. Another thing about us Ghanaians also, and even Africans at large, is the fact that, hey, look, we are quite a religious bunch of people. So, we like to call ourselves, let's pray together, there's a common faith that we have, and so regardless of where you sit, we believe that we've got to pray. And I think that togetherness again is warm, because it's always exciting when you know that you have people, or you have a good surround system, right? And I think that's or support system, if you want. That's a very good point that or lever that we can dwell on, to localize agility right here in Ghana. I think the last point that I'd like to leave with you before I sign off for today's episode is the fact that, hey, look, we joke a lot. We joke when we have to joke and share jokes and crack jokes. I think that's also a very good point, or a good opportunity that we can localize agility in a sense, because that ice breaking alone, kind of lowers the tension, make people feel at ease, And we are good. We are quite good with that as Ghanaians. Honestly, there are other, of course, other countries in Africa where they are very good, storytellers. That once you sit down and cross your leg, you feel welcome because you have been embraced. So these are the thoughts around how I think we can localize Agile, in Ghana, and of course by extension Africa as a whole. From a cultural perspective, obviously, and a value point from the Agile Manifesto and then the Agile values in itself. And so with that, we have come to the end of our time today. I hope that you have found this very useful. As always, I encourage you that you follow us on our socials, on our Agility for All YouTube channel. We are live also on Instagram as well as Facebook. Next week, I'll be back with my colleague Elvin, and we'll be talking about more information about the world of Agile, and we are bringing you the future of Agile in Ghana. Please look out for that, and thank you so much for your time today. Thank you, and be safe. Bye for now.